everybody. How are you doing? Welcome here today to talk about your Facebook ads success formula. I really wanted to do this free training in the form of a Facebook Live to get out to as many people as possible, because I am seeing so many questions from business owners and marketers at the moment about using Facebook ads, and you may very well be the same. Hi Lucy, really nice to see you. Thank you for being here. You may very well be the same. Very often lots of people have two or three parts of the puzzle in place, but don't actually have, oh, thank you for the likes, don't actually have every element that they need to have in place to actually get the results they want. And that's just so dispiriting. There's nothing worse than putting time and effort into something and then not actually getting back what you expected to get back. And it can turn you into a downward spiral and make you think that actually you don't want to put any more time or effort into what could be an amazing marketing tool for your business if only you knew the other elements that you just had to get in there as well to get them working. So that's why I wanted to share this live today. That's the background to it, to help you make sure you've got all six of the basics together, working together in your Facebook ads to get the results that you really want for your business. Now, I don't want to, notifications coming up on my phone as I'm speaking. I don't want to go on, waffle on and waste your time. I want to make this really succinct but effective so that you can go away and, if you like, tick the list and make sure that you've got all the bits working for your Facebook ads. So there are 6 basics that we are going to go through today that you need to have in your Facebook ads campaign to make sure that you get the results you want. And the first of those, which is probably the most crucial of all, and it sounds so obvious, but sometimes we forget the obvious because we dive straight in and do the rest and we get waylaid by the pretties. The obvious is to have a strategy, or in other words, a plan, or in other words, a goal. Know what it is that you actually want to achieve from your ads. I think many of us fall prey to this thing where someone else says to us, oh, you really ought to try this, it's really good. And so we kind of dive straight in without actually thinking about how this can help our business or what we want it to do for us. So sometimes we don't even know what success would look like at the other end. But all too often, if we do that with Facebook ads, it means that we don't actually get the other parts set up that we really need to have set up to make sure that our ads are a success. I see a lot of people coming to me and saying, oh, Julia, I don't think, oh, hi, Naomi, thanks for being here. I don't think my ads are working very well for me. What on earth is going on? And we have a quick look. And actually, the ads are working fine, but it's the other parts of the puzzle that aren't working for them. So say, for example, the ads are sending somebody to a web page that the marketer or the business owner wants some action to be taken on. Maybe that web page isn't actually doing the work. Oh, thank you for the likes and the hearts. That's so kind. Maybe that web page isn't actually doing what they need it to do in terms of engaging the visitor or asking the visitor to take the next action. So the Facebook ad is doing all the work it should be doing and is doing the lifting for you. But actually, oh, thank you. But actually, the web page isn't actually mucking in and doing its share of the work. So you can see there that the Facebook ad wouldn't be the thing that was causing the issue. The issue is actually the web page. And I've seen it happen in other businesses where maybe they've been using Facebook ads that have been encouraging people to call the business. And that's brilliant. But they've come back and said, oh no, my Facebook ads aren't really working for me. And on closer investigation, we found out that actually the people who are meant to be answering the calls that the Facebook ads are generating aren't picking up the phone. So the ads are doing really well and getting people to call, but actually the phones aren't being answered. It sounds so simple, but yet unless we know what we really want Facebook ads to do for us, and unless we've got those systems then set up in our business, we are not making the most of that time and that effort that we're actually putting into our Facebook ads. So please just spend a bit of time planning it and thinking it through, thinking where you want to take your visitor to, or what action you want them to take as a result of your ads. It could be something as big as making a call, or it could be something as small as looking out for your next update or clicking through to read a blog. It doesn't have to be huge, but just think about what it is that you want them to do. Make sure that's clear, and make sure the next step in the process is also doing the work for you that you need it to do. Cool. So we've covered off strategy, which is a long and complex word really to say, a bit of planning, a bit of using this, which very often actually we don't do because we just rush straight in and decide to jump into these things thinking, oh yeah, I'll do it on the fly. It's a bit like actually, you know, if you go to IKEA or any other place like that, because obviously there are alternatives, and you get all your flat pack furniture and you can't be bothered to really look at the instructions. You say, oh yeah, I know this, easy peasy. And you start putting it together and you get halfway through and you realise that actually that long bit there, section A, should have been joined to section C and B before you added section D to it, and you didn't actually do that. You put section D on straight away, and now you've effectively got to break the ends off to get it to all work and glue it back together again with some glue you've got to rush out and buy. Yeah, it's the same kind of approach to our Facebook ads. Let's just read through the instructions, do a bit of planning, and then all the pieces will slot together. Kind of liking that analogy. I think I might use that one again. Woo! Okay, next point. Really, really, really important point. This one is using Facebook ads to sell. Now, when Facebook ads first launched back in like 2011-ish, they were really novel and new. So because of that, and we found this all the way through with stuff online, that when something is really novel and new, the really early adopters can jump on and kind of almost do whatever they like because there is a novelty value. They will have people's attention, there won't be much competition, and they've got a much freer reign. Whereas Facebook ads now are well established. People are used to seeing them in their timeline. Facebook is an incredibly crowded place, even when you are cutting through it by running ads. And yet people are still behaving as if they've got a wide open playing field and they can sort of do whatever they like with Facebook ads, and people will still do what they want them to do. They won't. If you are using Facebook ads as anything other than a targeted communication tool, then you are going to find life really difficult and pretty expensive. What on earth do you mean by that, Julia? Think about it this way. If you are using Facebook ads to offer something for sale, would the same audience that you're targeting your ads to, would the same audience buy your offer if they saw it printed on a printed flyer and stuffed in front of their nose, say when they're out shopping, or say when they're watching TV, if you could get into their house and stuff this leaflet under their nose when they're sat there watching Gogglebox? Would they buy that offer from you? If the answer is no, then there's a pretty strong chance, like 99.9997 recurring chance, that they are also not going to buy from you if you stuff the same offer onto a Facebook ad and put it in front of them, because they may very well also be watching Gogglebox or out shopping or waiting for dinner to ping in the microwave, or waiting to pick up their daughter from dance class, or stuck in the queue at the supermarket, whatever it is. If you are trying to sell your stuff to an audience who have never met you before, using a Facebook ad, unless they know your product, or unless they really, really know the brands that you're selling, or you're selling a very, very, very impulse buy, the chances are that you are going to find it very difficult to get anywhere with that approach. What you actually need to do, and it stands to reason, doesn't it, is get people to know you. Let them understand that you're the expert in the field. Encourage them to find out a little bit more about the way you work, the value that you offer, the value that other people have got from you as well. And we do this by using Facebook ads actually to warm our audience up before we pitch them. And it makes complete sense, doesn't it? We will do that in the outside world. So why do we think it's any different with Facebook ads? So please, please, if you have been using Facebook ads to try and sell things to a cold audience and you're sitting there saying, oh, but Julia, Facebook ads don't work for me, that's exactly why. Because you are saying to someone who's never met you before, please cough up however many pounds or hundreds of pounds it is and buy this thing off me, even if you don't know anything about me and you don't know whether this thing is any good. It's kind of not going to happen. When you think about it like that, it's a bit of a no-brainer, but it's not always entirely obvious, is it? And especially from some of the marketing and instructions and guidance that Facebook themselves put out. Because some of their examples are actually about people selling stuff directly. And that's great if it's something really low cost, if people already know what the product is, if it doesn't need much explanation, if they know the brands, or if you're a local business and you're advertising to local people and they already know you, fair enough. But any other circumstance, you're going to find it really difficult. So that's number 2. Don't go out and sell your stuff to a cold audience on the whole, apart from those exceptions that we have talked about. And talking of audiences, that is our point number 3. To get Facebook ads really working well for you, guess what? We need to be cutting through that clutter and that noise that we've just talked about on the timeline. Facebook is a very crowded place. With adverts, you've got a chance of actually sharing your message in front of the people that you want to see it, which is fantastic. And that's why we are paying, so that we can get our message in front of exactly the right people for us. But, and this is an important point, again, that people overlook, just because somebody has your ad put in front of them in their newsfeed doesn't mean to say that they're going to take any notice of it or that they're going to take the action that you want them to take. If you want someone to take notice of your message, you need to be presenting them with something that talks to what's going on inside their head, that uses the same language that they use, that is written in a compelling way, that grabs their attention because it matters to them. It's touching on something that's relevant to them and their lives and their context. And you will only actually know enough to be able to make your ads work in this way if you know the people that you want to attract, if you know the people that you want to interact with, if you know your audience. So really spending some time either going out there and getting to know the people that you really want to attract by talking to them online or offline, or going back and surveying some of the conversations that you've already had to really get a feel for where your people are at, what matters to them, what's important to them, what language do they actually use to describe it, how do they feel about the stuff that you help them with, and how will they feel when they've actually got their challenges or their problems solved. Once you can start thinking in that way, it becomes very easy actually to sort of slip into their world and think about what you should be putting into your ad that is going to attract attention in the right way. And by that, I don't mean putting a bright red frame around the image that you use in your ad. That is just like blur. That's the equivalent of email spam almost, isn't it? Or using a video that kind of goes like this in the timeline at you. I mean, to me, that's just horrible. Yes, it's attracting attention, but in completely the wrong way. We want to be attracting people by sharing stuff that could be of value to them, and whether that value is educating them or even maybe entertaining them or making them think, being a little bit thought-provoking maybe, or letting them know that you can help them because you've helped someone similar to them, letting them know about a case study, for example, that shows just how their life could be different. All these things will attract your people in from that crowded timeline if you share them in ads that make sense. So really get to know your audience as much as you can before you start putting your ads together, and it will pay dividends for you in the long run. It could save you masses of heartache and ads that haven't really got anywhere by just taking some time out to do a bit of research if you don't know that stuff already. And added to that, we've talked about not selling to a cold audience, and we've talked about really getting to know your audience. And if we put those two last points together, we come to a strategy that is working just brilliantly at the moment, which is to market using Facebook ads by giving value and not expecting anything back. So marketing by sharing really useful stuff for your audience, and very often that will be educational stuff. There was a blog I was reading, it was about a month ago, I think now, which was talking about the results of a survey of consumers that had been carried out, which basically led to the conclusion that a huge proportion of stuff that is shared online is seen by the end user, the audience, the intended audience, as junk. They are seeing it as stuff that makes no impression on them because it has no impact on them. And the conclusion was that if we want to be sharing stuff, content, to use the marketing phraseology, that is actually taken notice of, then we need to be sharing stuff that is relevant to our audience. And relevance in that context, as found by this study and also others, relevance is something that helps them in their lives and in their current context. So this all supports this notion of sharing value first. Sharing something of value that will help your audience in their lives. So it will help them become better at something, or it will help them solve a problem or a challenge that they've got, or it will educate them in some way. That is the content that is really valued. And if you can put that message in front of the people that you really would love to attract to your business, that is a brilliant way of first letting them know that you exist, how you work, the value that you add, how you can help. So you're not going out there selling anything remotely salesy at all. You are out there sharing something that is going to help your audience. In this day and age, that is what is cutting through the clutter and having some really great results for people. And I've seen some comments coming up, but I can't see them on my page, which is not very helpful, but I will catch them in a bit. So this strategy of sharing value first with your Facebook ads, brilliant way to go. Well, how on earth do I do that, Julia? It's not as complicated as it sounds. You can take your phone, like I'm doing right now, and you could record a quick video, say a minute's video, minute and a half video. Share that using Facebook ads to get it out there. We could all do that, couldn't we? And the video doesn't have to be a talking head like this. It could be a video of anything that's going to be useful for your audience. You could write a blog post and share that with your intended audience using Facebook ads. Again, that might take you an hour and a half. But then you can share it to a huge audience, if you like, of thousands of the right people for you. And start attracting people by actually the value that you offer them. Starts that relationship off in a whole different way than people's teeth being slightly on edge because they can feel a pitch behind whatever it is that you've got in your Facebook ad. So that's a strategy that is working brilliantly for so many people. So I really encourage you to think about that one. The next point I want to make is that if you're going to be running Facebook ads for any length of time at all, which most of us are, because this quick sort of 5-day Facebook ad campaign to try and sell stuff type of thing is really starting to look very old-fashioned now. Most of us want to be running adverts that are building the know, like and trust long term, in which case we want to be making sure that we are making the very most of our budget. We all have limited budgets, let's be honest, unless we're multi-million pound corporations, and they are not the people that I'm talking to right now, and they're generally not my clients. We have limited budgets. We want our budgets to go the furthest we can, and we also want to make sure that we are talking to the right people for us who really need us, so that we're not spamming other people. Let's be honest, we want to be sharing quality with the right people. And that means that what we need to do is target the right audience with the right message. And that means that we need to go out there and test our message or our offer of value against a number of different audiences to find the audience that responds best to what we're offering, because the chances are that that audience will be containing the right group of people for us. So what we can do is create an ad which will be within an ad set, because that's the way that Facebook works, and we can then duplicate that ad set but just change the targeting on the second ad set, and in the space of like 3 minutes we've now got one ad set up that's targeting one audience and another ad set up that's targeting a different audience, but that is exactly the same in terms of the copy and the image or the video or whatever is included in the ad. And that is called split testing, where all you are doing is changing one variable and looking to see how that affects the results. It always sounds really complex, this stuff, doesn't it? Split testing. Oh my goodness me, what's all that about? I can't do that. Well, yes, you jolly well can. It will take you 3 minutes to take your ad set, duplicate it, change the targeting, and you're all done. Literally. And then what you do is, after the ads have been running for about 3 days, if you go and try and deduce anything from your results before 2 or 3 days are up, then Facebook is actually still stabilizing the results, and you'll be liable to make a decision based on information that isn't actually right yet. So give it 2 or 3 days, let those ads run with a bit of a budget so that you've actually got enough results back to make a sensible conclusion. And then you can look at them and say, oh, well, actually, it looks like this audience had a higher response than this audience. So I think that this audience is probably the one that we need to focus on for now with this particular offer, with this particular piece of value. And then you can start to increase the amount that you spend on ads to that audience if you want to. But only increase that budget slowly. If you do it quickly, Facebook kind of won't be able to cope with you changing the boundaries hugely, and actually all that lovely optimization that it's worked out for you will go to pot. So increase your budget slowly once you've found the audience that works best for you. And you can carry on doing that testing. You don't just have to test 2 different audiences. You could test 4 different audiences and pick out the one that looks like it's responding the best for you. And when you've found an audience and an offer combination that seems to work really well, then you can start thinking about actually testing what you put in the ad. So you could test, for example, the headline of your ad. That's that piece of text that sits underneath in the slightly larger font than everything else. Maybe you could just change the headline. So there you'd be duplicating your ad and just changing the headline, duplicating your ad running to the same audience, change the headline, see which variant works best. And you could also change the image, or you could change the video if you wanted to, if that's the type of ad you've decided to run. So split testing sounds really big and scary, but it isn't. It's just a way of actually optimizing the results that you get from the time, effort, energy, and budget that you've got, and also a way of making sure that you are getting your message in front of the right people for you at this point in time. So please remember, when you're running your ads for any length of time, to do some testing and measuring. It will really pay you dividends in the long run, and it will also give you lots of information actually about the way that different audiences respond to your offer, and you might find that that information is actually really useful further down the line, and might even be useful in other forms of marketing that you put together for your business as well. And then finally, and this is the biggie, and I'm sure that you've heard people talk about this and maybe haven't quite understood what this is all about, and that is Facebook retargeting. Oh yes, and that's something else that strikes the fear of whatever into people, because they start hearing pixels, custom audiences, retargeting, all sorts of other jargon that just frightens the pants off a lot of people. I know that, but the beauty is that actually that Facebook retargeting is not complicated when you break it down into little chunks. And actually the technology itself isn't complicated. It's all about taking a little piece of code and putting it onto your web pages. And actually you can ask someone else to do that for you. You can ask your web developer to do it for you. Or you can do it yourself with a nifty little plugin. But I don't want to get into that right now. The thing I think that worries people the most about this is thinking about how actually they can use this within their business. So let me explain what retargeting actually is, and then you will start to see very clearly how you could use it and how it's really going to ramp up the results that you get from Facebook ads. So retargeting or remarketing, they're both exactly the same, is a way of going back and talking again to the people who have shown an interest in you or your business or some content that you've already put out there. So for example, you can go back and talk to all the people who have visited your website. You can go back and talk to all the people who visited a specific page on your website, or a specific page but not another page on your website. So this starts to get very exciting, because you could actually go back and talk to all the people, say, who have visited a particular blog that you've put out, and say that particular blog that you've put out has direct relevance to a product or a service that you would really like to offer that audience. Then you know that you have got people who've already visited that blog. Hopefully they've read it as well. You know that if you go back and talk to those people, they've already shown an interest in that subject. That's not to say that you want to go back and say, yeah, you've read my blog, buy my stuff. But you know that you've got a little subgroup of people there from the whole group of people who might have visited your website. You've got a subgroup of people who are interested in that particular subject, so could ultimately be interested in your product or service. So you could go back and talk to them. In other words, show them an ad that takes them down the next step in the process. Oh, thank you for the love, much appreciated. That takes them to the next step in the process that you would like to take them along, to warm them up and let them know about you and how you can help them and the expertise that you have, and the whole process of them going from being someone who's just interested to being a customer of yours. You can actually put that whole process onto Facebook ads if you really want to, because you can go back and talk to people who have engaged with the stuff that you put in front of them at every step in the process. But you can certainly start this process off by going back and talking to people who've shown an interest in your business or in the content that you've put out. So we can create a website custom audience, but we can also create a custom audience, this is Facebook's terminology, a subgroup of people that we can go back and talk to, from people who've engaged with any of the content that you've put out on your Facebook page. Wahoo! And that includes, of course, content that you have put an ad behind to get it out to a wider audience. So that's very exciting. So anyone who engages with any of the stuff that you put out in your value sharing adverts, you can actually go back and talk to the people that responded to that, and you can take them to the next step in the process. So you can start to see how Facebook ads are helping you to attract the right people into your value that you are sharing as the first step of your process, yeah? But then Facebook ads can also help you go back and talk to the people that responded to that value, whether that is a blog post or whether that is something that you shared on your Facebook page. And the other custom audience that you can create are people who have watched your videos. I remember when I suggested you taking your phone and creating a 1-minute video and sharing that using a Facebook ad. If you do that, you can go into your results and you will find that Facebook has already sectioned out your results in terms of people who've watched 3 seconds of your video or 10 seconds of your video, people who've watched 25% of your video or 50% or 95% or all of it. You can go back and talk to anyone in those segments. So you can take the people who've watched 50% of your videos, say, and show them an ad that would take them to the next step of your process from interest to customer. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I can do all that by email, Julia. Why do I need to bother with Facebook ads? Well, do you get 100% open rate on your emails? If you do, I'd love to learn from you how you manage that. The industry average is, I don't know, is it 16% or 20%? It depends what industry you're in. But anyway, it's not huge. So you can spend a lot of time and effort putting an email series together, an autoresponder series, say, that actually doesn't get the right people opening it for whatever reason. If you combine your email marketing with Facebook ads offering a similar message to the same audience, wow, you can get some seriously brilliant results, because Facebook ads helps you amplify that message. Or if you don't want to be getting people into your email list, if that whole squeeze page opt-in type thing is just like too much, really too much for you to have to cope with, Facebook ads is now allowing you to do all the warm-up and nurturing actually using the Facebook ads system on its own. How amazing is that? That's something that we definitely couldn't do a few years ago, but is just working like billio for people right now. So I wanted to let you know that that option is there. You don't have to go to the full extent and do all your warm-up and nurturing on Facebook ads, but if you start to put a little bit of retargeting in there, it can really, really, really ramp up the results that you're seeing from any section of your Facebook ads or your other marketing. So say if you've got to the stage where you have got a warm audience and you are sending them all to a sales page, and because you've got to the end of the stage where you know that they would be ready to buy from you, you can use Facebook ads retargeting to go back and talk again to the people who went all the way through your sales page but didn't actually get to your thank you page. So for whatever reason, they looked at your sales page, but they didn't actually buy your offer. You can go back and talk to them again. So say something got in the way, say they went to make a cup of tea or the phone rang or their toddler kicked off or whatever, you've got a chance to go back and talk to them again and encourage them to go through the process again. Or say somebody went to your opt-in page, for example, where they could get a freebie, download a freebie in exchange for their email address. Say they went to that page, but they never actually completed the process. Same reason, life gets in the way or something put them off. You could go back to those people again and remind them of the value that they're going to get if they do opt in, or offer them something different, some different content, warm them up a different way. Maybe you've got a different lead magnet that you could offer them. So you can start to see how this retargeting and remarketing could just bump up, could really amplify specific stages in your customer journey, for want of a better word, for a little bit of input and a little bit of putting it together, you can get some really amazing results. So what have we covered? Just to summarize, we have covered the 6 essentials that you really need to have in place to get the most out of Facebook ads now in 2017. Things move on, things change, and the strategies that are working now are different from maybe what was working 18 months, 12 months, even 6 months ago. But we want to get very clear on our strategy. We want to make sure that we know what we want Facebook ads to do for us, so we can set the rest of the system up to make sure that it's all playing ball. We want to make sure that we are not trying to sell to a cold audience, or indeed get a cold audience to make some form of massive commitment when they've not met us before, which might be attending a free event, take note. You want to make sure that you know your audience really well so that your ads cut through the clutter of the newsfeed and actually speak to your intended audience and encourage them to take the action that you want them to take. And a strategy that's working really, really well right now is actually marketing through adding value, not through selling at all. If we want our ads to run for any length of time, we need to test different audiences or test different variants of our ads and find out which audience and ad combination work the best for us, so that we can spend our time, our effort and our budget in the right place. And finally, you want to make sure that you are making the most of everything that you put into your Facebook ads, if you possibly can, by using the power of remarketing. It's not difficult to put into place. The tech is really easy. The slight overwhelm might come when you're actually thinking about where to use it within your Facebook ads plan. And now I've come to the end of what I wanted to share with you today, but I didn't want to just leave it there, because I know that your business is different from my business, which is different from that business over there, which is different from that business over there. So at the moment, I've shared some generic points with you that I know are absolutely vital. But I would love to be able to help you with a more bespoke plan for your business to make sure that you get the results from Facebook ads that you really want for your business, and that we can take into account your specific audience and your products and services and your offers and your timeframes and everything else. So I am inviting you to have a strategy call with me where we will map out the best Facebook ads strategy for you right now, for the business goals that you've got right now, for your audience and for your products and services. It will be a 45-minute strategy call. It's completely free with me. I won't necessarily be able to do it like today, right now, but we will get it booked into the calendar and you and I can have a one-to-one strategy call session where we will map out the best plan for you, for your Facebook ads, for your business, and talk about the people that you want to target and how you can actually, say, use remarketing to ramp up your results, how you can make sure that you are putting together compelling ads that are going to get the results that you want for your business. So if you'd like to take advantage of that offer, I don't know how long I'll be able to keep this offer open for, because obviously my time is finite and I can't spend all the time on the phone, but I would really, really, really like to help you right now. So if you would like to take me up on that offer, then please just go across to bit.ly/planning call and just answer the quick questionnaire that I've got there, so that I've got the information that I need before the call to make the very most of the time that we've got together. And I will book it into the calendar for you and I will see you on the call. It will be brilliant. I really can't wait to help you put together a plan that's really going to work for your business. That link again is bit.ly, which is bit.ly/planning call. That's all one word. And I am going to put the link to that in the comments underneath. Okay, so don't worry if you haven't got it written down, it will be in the comments underneath. Oh, you'd like to take me up on that? Absolutely, no problem at all. I'm going to put the link in the comments, so please just click through, fill in the quick questions so that I've got the information there to be able to help you before we even get on the call, and we will get it all booked in. So thank you so much for being with me today. If you have got, oh Hazel, yes, absolutely. I'll ping the link in the comments underneath and you can get yourself all booked in. That would be great. So thank you for being with me today. If you've got any questions that you think of after I sign off in a minute or two, then please add them to the comments. I'm going to be coming back and reviewing this thread regularly, so I will pick up any questions and I will reply to them as soon as I can. But thank you so much for being with me, and as soon as I get off this, I'm going to put that link in the comments so you can come and book yourself in for your free Facebook ads planning call. Thank you. Bye.